unlike most other days where we jump into Gran Turismo, today we're actually just going to be talking about the game, not jumping in and driving and testing a new car or a new update or a new track or a certain track condition, but just talking about the game itself and why the ultimate tool for Gran Turismo 7 and for racing sims in general is virtual reality. And in this case, the PlayStation VR2, because until it gets ported to PC, which I'm assuming will happen eventually, the only way you can play GT7 at all, or with VR support, is with the PSVR2 and the PS5. This ultimate combination gives you so many perks and levels up in terms of immersion and actually racing skill, for me at least, due to many factors that we're going to be talking about today. Whether you're racing at 200 miles an hour in a Formula Series car, off-roading in America, or taking on storms during the 24-hour Le Mans, this is Gran Turismo 7 on PSVR2, the ultimate driving experience. We're going to start with the easiest factor to take a look at when understanding why I love Gran Turismo 7 so much in VR, and that is the visual presentation and the point of view that you get with virtual reality. I love GT7 on the flat screen. I think it's an incredible looking game, and it's just downright a brilliant racing sim altogether, especially by console standards. There's no modding here, so the vanilla experience has to be pretty damn great, and luckily it really is. But with the aid of virtual reality, these visuals come across in such a new light that really blows you away. That perspective of being strapped into whatever car you choose makes you feel like you're there on the track. And if you have a racing wheel setup, it honestly elevates that to the next level completely, because my god, does it really feel like you're on that track racing against other people. And when you take the headset off, you feel like you have been thrown around properly if you've hit the track at high speeds. The incredible visuals zooming past you give such a sense of speed that you just don't get in flat screen gameplay of Gran Turismo 7, in my opinion. Games like GT don't look incredibly fast on the flat screen unless you're driving extreme vehicles on the highest end of the spectrum, but in VR, even some of the lower to mid-tier vehicles can feel fast when you're racing them, depending on what track you're on, because of the fact that everything has depth and everything's flying past your peripherals, giving you that wide field of view that you just don't get on the flat screen. It does come with the downside that you can't go into third person and take a look at your car while you're racing, but you can go into the showroom and have a look at all of your cars in detail, and you even get a VR replay that sits you on the side of the track, and you can watch the race after it's done from the crowd's point of view, which is really cool. Now, when you're actually in the headset, the visuals here are not as good as flat screen. I'm going to be straight up with that, because some people have said they are. I've said they're incredible before, and I still stand by that, but it's not quite the 4K experience you get on flat. Sure, the textures are still 4K, but because of the Fresnel lenses on the PSVR2 and the size of the panels and the density of the pixels in the panels and the mirror, because of them being OLED, all of these things come together to make it not quite as visually sharp as it is on the flat screen, especially since these panels are right in front of your eyes, so you can kind of see any aliasing that does pop up. There is more severe pop-in as well when looking in wing mirrors and rear view mirrors, and also environmental effects like rain don't show up in your rear view either, which can break the immersion a little bit compared to flat. However, these few things are absolutely nothing in comparison to the sense of speed you get and the amazing point of view full of detail that you simply do not get without a VR headset. Speaking of detail, the details in the tracks and the cars can be really appreciated here. Whether you're sitting still in the showroom taking in all of the detailed scanning that the Polyphony team have done on every single car that looks just phenomenally good, from the small knobs that you turn in the cars to adjust settings, to the embroidered text of some company logos and warnings for airbags, everything that you could possibly want from the real cars in terms of detail are here because they've been so well done in scanning. These are the highest fidelity models you can get in a racing game, and experiencing their scale and detail in VR is something you just can't get anywhere else once again. The showroom here again is a godsend for checking out cars and their detail, and while the control scheme is fairly simple and slow with the DualSense as you pan around cars, You can get up close and personal if you have a big enough space and just straight up walk up to them if you don't like using the joysticks and analog sticks, and you can easily turn on different things like your indicators or your headlights, rev that car up and sit in the cockpit if you so desire. So there's a lot of versatility in how you can view your car, especially in this mode, along with the fact that you can change what location and backdrop you want when you jump into the showroom. I do wish GT7 had support for scapes. That would be incredible, but scapes are, in the end, just photos where your cars are just very cleverly placed into the scene. They're not 360-degree photos either, so this just wouldn't make sense for VR, but maybe at some point in the future, we can get some more locations to really look around and explore with scapes, possibly in VR, but that's not really something that's feasible, at least with GT7 and the PS5. And to be honest, I feel like I'm asking for too much when I bring it up, which I really am. However, what I'm not gonna complain about at all is the depth perception here in terms of helping you race. Because you've got the two screens strapped to your eyeballs, and you've got that sense of depth, you can judge corners far easier. At least I find that I do. My lap times in VR compared to non-VR are drastically different, swaying in the favor of the VR lap times because I can handle cornering, and especially depth to other cars too, a lot easier than flat screen. I thought I was racing fine on the flat screen before I tried out VR, but my god does it help so much. And really gives you a sense of presence on the track and how wide your car is as well, which sometimes you can struggle with in the flat. Online racing too is just awesome. It feels like you're really in a race that's alive because those are other real players that you're racing next to. And while they do have reactions in the cockpit as you're racing next to them, unfortunately the game doesn't track your head movements for other players to see, so they can't really see you turning to look at them or anything like that. I wish that was implemented into the game, but at least at time of writing the script, it isn't. The PSVR2 features here are also put to good use. The eye tracking means that everything you're looking at is incredibly sharp, while around your peripheral vision, things are brought down in terms of quality. You don't notice this, but it does help run the game at a flawless 120 reprojected, which doesn't really feel too bad because you're driving at speed, so you don't really get much ghosting, and I think the game has actually been improved since launch in this regard. Similarly, the haptics of the PSVR2 are utilized great here. If you hit a big jump on a dirt track or crash into a barrier or another competitor, you'll feel that in the haptics as they go off, and because you can't use the Sense controllers that come with the PSVR2 for this game, it helps to add a sense of place that would otherwise be missing because you're not using the PSVR2 designed hardware for your hands. And overall, I am just blown away every time I step back into any vehicle on PSVR2 with Gran Turismo 7. I sorely miss my wheel setup when I'm away from it in VR, so if you do have access to a wheel, that will make your experience so much better, but it is also just great on controller, and I love jumping in every time I get the chance to. It's quickly becoming my most played PSVR2 game by a long shot, and there's a very good reason for that. I'm hoping I've conveyed that to you in this video, at least a little bit, so if you haven't got the game, you might try it out. Or if you haven't got a PSVR2 but love Gran Turismo 7, this will probably be a game changer for you as it was for me. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you did enjoy. Thank you to our patrons Luke Bentley, Phil Irving, Hazit Mirza, and Ace Gamer. Your guys' donations every month help keep the channel going day after day and week after week. If you want to join the Patreon or the Discord or the YouTube membership, all of those are linked in the description below, with the Patreon and YouTube membership starting at $3 a month and ending at $3 a month. So thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video.